In today's video, I'm going to be attempting to platinum both Deadpool and Wolverine in under 48 hours, meaning no sleep, no communication with the outside world, and realistically, a couple cans of Monster to get me through the 2 days in one piece. But that's not all. If I fail this challenge in any way whatsoever, I will have to give away the current value of these two games combined, which currently sits at a stupidly high £100. It is currently 12:21, which means I should finish this challenge around the same time. So let's go. We start in Deadpool's apartment, where we are told that Deadpool's big game idea has been rejected, which doesn't go down too well with the man himself.
We're gonna pass on your big game idea.
What? He said no? Relax. You know he's gonna call back. Because of the...
Deadpool! Hey, it's Peter. You know, Dick.
We are told that the new script will be sent over ASAP, and we are awarded our first 2 trophies for literally starting the game.
But I haven't even accomplished anything in this game yet.
The first one's free.
Another one.
The second one's free as well, okay. The main trophy to focus on during the starting area is making a game, which we unlock for playing with Deadpool's junk. And this isn't the literal sense, by the way, so YouTube, please don't hate me, but it is for interacting with random objects around Deadpool's flat, some of which really nail the fact that High Moon knew exactly what they were doing when making a Deadpool game.
We're not gonna put our
Okay.
are we?
There's 14 things to interact with here, but the only one that gives us a trophy is for making 1,000 pancakes. I got a trophy. I'm expecting company. The last thing I interacted with was a phone call between Deadpool and Nolan North, which is such a cool wall break since he's the one voicing the character in the game.
Nolan, hey, what's up, buddy? We're making a game about me. We gotta have you do the VO, man.
Oh, that is a trophy. Making a game. Nice. After answering the door and finally accepting the script, Deadpool decides that it isn't really how he wants his game to go, and rewrites it in his own confusing way, which pretty much sums up the story of this game. After a quick combat tutorial, a few minutes on the bounty castle, and also collecting a few DP points, which are the upgrade points in this game, we can blast through this door to start this trophy for getting a 40 or higher combo before reaching the elevators later in the section. Now, to be fair, this didn't seem that hard, and I was pretty sure this ultra-violence run was going to be a piece of cake. I eventually reached that 40 or higher combo I needed, but the game failed to track this, and after doing it twice to no result, I restarted the chapter, which literally put me right back at the start of the tutorial. Amazing news when we were already 25 minutes deep on the first mission of the game. As the clock kept counting, I made my way back and luckily managed to unlock this trophy on my next attempt.
What the hell is going
I go
on
40
now?
again. How am I not getting the trophy, bro? Come on. Oh, let's go.
You can't sing.
Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
Up next was 49-5 for completing this section in under 5 minutes without dying, and seems we're going to have to leave that one for the post-game cleanup. The rest of this mission was straight combat, leading to the first mini boss fight of the game, and also my first real taste of this pretty hard difficulty.
And he's purpose-built to eat little shits like you for breakfast.
Eat shit for breakfast.
This guy can one-shot you from pretty much anywhere, and it took me a death or two to realize just how to take him down. Okay, what the fuck is that, bro? The dodge feature in this game is amazing, as you're invincible while doing so, allowing me to boost around the corners and evade attacks while dealing damage whenever I can. Go.
Oh, man. How much C4 is this gonna take?
It's no more than 20 ounces.
What? Oh, I hate the metric system. How much in American?
Dude, fuck math. Just use all of it.
How's that for impenetrable, asshole?
Now, as much as I'd like to explain who this guy is or what our overall aim for attacking him is, there really isn't much of a story to follow within this game since Deadpool didn't read the script. It's a cool way to go about the story, but it makes it pretty hard to actually explain what's going on for the video since none of it makes any sense.
You're insane!
Not as insane as you think. Yeah, that was fun!
The
Yeah,
house
it was
that
okay.
bounces. What?
Deadpool, you idiot! Do you know how much money all those explosions and tacky graphics just cost me? You can't just change whatever you want, whenever
Yeah,
you
that's
want.
great, Peter. Talk to my dick. Hey, Where are you a-holes going with my contract?
Turns out, Deadpool blew the entire budget of the game in the first mission, leading to a cool retro level in order to recoup some of the losses. We do return back to the normal levels, but this becomes a recurring gag throughout the game, and just adds to how great this game actually is. It's so refreshing to play a game so unique, and it's really sad to see how everything turned out with its delisting and high price points. Eventually, we catch up to the people that stole our contract, but before we can do anything, we are thrown into this fight with a mini boss that can literally one-hit me after eating all of my bullets.
Bro, one shot me, you joke.
Despite this initial rage, it turns out you can just run past the enemy and trigger the next checkpoint. I ended up doing this for most of the hard parts in the game, which definitely wouldn't have a negative effect later on in the story. For now though, I made my way through more enemies before reaching the first boss of this game, called Arc Light.
Hey, Arclight! Looking good, babe.
Now, up until this point, the ultra-violence difficulty hadn't really posed much threat, and going into this fight, I thought maybe this would be the turning point in that. But it was quite the opposite.
There's gotta be a glitch, bro. Like, with a certain input kind of thing. Yeah, I just spammed her to death, bro. Oh shit, okay.
Hey, hot tits, the pipe I was offering gives way more pleasure. Oh, come on!
After pulling ourselves off this pole and running into vertigo for a second time, we can survive this awfully long elevator section and earn a trophy for taking no damage on this water slide.
Help me. My stomach.
Yes.
What the?
That was definitely the trophy. Let's go. That's Superman. I'm joking. I'm joking, bro.
Excellent.
There we go.
You are no longer
Hey, you
used to
guys.
demon.
Shit, there goes our contract money.
Hey there, Captain Douche. You know, I don't appreciate killing my target before I could. Now I need to collect from your sorry ass. Why is this happening?
Come, Blockbuster. Genosha awaits.
Although we should almost definitely be dead at this point, Deadpool firms the death to witness some big, scrumptious
Boner and Gage. What are you?
claws to the face. Wolverine lets us know that we need to head to Genosha, and for some reason, they let Deadpool fly the Blackbird, which ends up just about as well as you'd expect.
Deadpool, quit fooling around.
To show just how sorry we are for the situation, we slap Wolverine multiple times for seemingly no reason other than a trophy pop.
Why won't you wake up? Wake up! That's because the player keeps mashing the button. That's because I like slapping fleshy things with this hand. And finally, that's because the whole setup just added 5 minutes of bonus play to the most awesome game ever devised by mutant or man.
It was around this point in the game that I started to get a bit worried about something. See, the night before I started this challenge, it was originally going to be a 24-hour Deadpool challenge. I knew that was probably possible, and it was something that wouldn't take too much time. But then I found this stupidly overpriced Wolverine game on Amazon, boasting about its next day delivery, and I just had to see if I could up the stakes by trying them both in 48 hours. The issue though, is that this was a day of delivery, and the game was nowhere to be seen. It wasn't unusual for Amazon to keep me out of the loop, but when this video relied on both games to be readily available, this was pushing it extremely close for comfort. However, all I could do was wait, and in the meantime, continued working on the game I already had.
Cable?
Curious about Cable.
Hey, man out of time. What are you doing here?
We haven't seen him since our run in the comics together.
Oh, I love reunions.
Sinister has knocked out the X-Men by broadcast,
We may want to pay attention. This could explain a critical plot point.
which all hinges on you, Wade. Now here's the critical part.
It's so boring. Make it stop.
Damn it, Wade!
No.
After successfully avoiding Cable and ignoring literally every key point he was trying to explain to us, we are left a note that explains,
Idiot. Meet me at the north end of the city.
What? Who the hell is Cable to give us orders in our game?
P.S. If you don't arrive within 1 hour, you'll miss the incredibly large-breasted
Naked woman who claims to be your biggest fan?
Don't fall for that
But
one
what
again.
if Cable means it this time?
A very exciting situation that is brought down by the fact we are blocked by a stupidly large amount of enemies. We also run into these big guys too that were pretty overpowered, but it's more or less a waiting game as it takes a while for the ammo drops to spawn in to deal more damage. If it wasn't clear already, a lot of this game revolves around defeating heaps and heaps of enemies, and I think that might be one of the only issues I have with this game. I don't think it would be as bad if there was a good variety of enemy types or attacks, but all of the enemies are relatively the same and usually have the same attacks, which made these combat sections kinda boring. Regardless, after defeating all the enemies in the section, we can finally meet the fangirl that Cable was so eager to tell us about.
Lo behold, number one fangirl is
So yeah, unfortunately there isn't a fangirl, but there is a great opportunity to earn the trophy remarkably quiet, as we need to eliminate 4 enemies with stealth. The stealth in this game is kind of weird because it's not a button press or anything, it's just whenever the game detects you haven't been spotted yet. But this is temperamental as it only works when you're close enough to an enemy. If I take down one enemy and just walk away, there's a good chance I return to the normal stance and alert everyone around me. It wasn't too much of a hassle to restart from checkpoint though, so the trophy was mine pretty quickly.
There we go, that was 4. Nice, remarkably quiet.
After dealing with more enemies, we are introduced to the Wheel of Insanity. This wheel has really cool outcomes like a sequel to this game, $1 billion, and other things. But out of all of these cool options, we got
spin it to win it. Magnetic apocalypse. That can't be good.
a very fitting trophy for this situation called This Game is Rigged can be earned for shooting everything from the wheel. And by everything, it just means these pink balloons and a random floating cow minding its own business.
There we go, this game is rigged.
After this, we can scale the floating objects to reach the top of the tower and run into Sinister once again.
All right, Sinister. Time to pay the and what the hell happened to you?
You.
Me.
Nothing you do will stop my master plans.
Wait. Are you stuck in there?
No, that would be ridiculous.
What does this one do? Ah! Was that the big problem you needed help with? Because I just took care of it. Like a boss. Huzzah.
That wasn't...
Seriously, roll credits. We're done here.
Oh, this game is so good, man.
Cable explains that the Sinister we just eliminated is a clone, and the real one is held up in Magneto's old citadel.
I'm fighting my own battles in the future, all of which hinge on what you do here and now.
To get there, we need to find a few parts to make this robot foot fly. After grabbing the first part, I return back to Cable and manage to grab my last taco to reach 100 tacos for a trophy.
Excellent. You're one step closer to your...
Grabbing the second part was a lot harder, and the enemies here seemed to have a sudden health increase, which made this section longer than needed. It didn't help that I couldn't just run past this area, so I had to avoid that one-shotting enemy in tight hallways while dealing minimal damage to its overall health.
Can you not like... Yes! Oh my god, no way. No fucking way. Look at his health bar, bro. And I'm gonna get one shot.
Summers, here's the last part you need. Now let's roll out.
Wrong franchise, buddy.
Great, Cable. Thanks for stopping by. See you in the end credits.
To wrap up this third chapter, we have to defend ourselves over multiple locations as the shoe keeps malfunctioning and leaving us stranded in the worst possible locations. Things seem to be going pretty well, and other than a few deaths, we made it through these locations fairly easily. And I was just about to beat the chapter before my PS3 decided to pull the first prank of the night.
Sure, we're...
Yeah, the trophy pops if you heard it. But it is quite possible that my PS3 just froze, which is lovely. Just another thing to add to the overall time. Great. Okay, yeah, it saved. Okay, complete Genosha. So we got the trophy, but it crashed.
Booting the game back up, I was only set back a minute or two, which is actually incredible considering I hadn't manually saved once during the entire 4 hours I had been playing.
This!
Okay, we're back. Yes!
Hey, there's Rogue! Fly flying just like us.
Flying right at us.
Deadpool, look out!
After Rogue crashes into us, we are both suddenly hanging from the ceiling, but before we can do anything, we fall to the ground and lose our arm. With our head turned around the wrong way, the controls become inverted, which again, just shows how creative they were being with this game.
Don't make me shoot you, boo-boo. Come on, don't you have balls to lick? Come lick my balls. There we go. Oh, what? You dicks hang out here often? Get it with the dicks.
10 minutes of fighting enemies later, we can reach a fan favorite section of this game. Now, I'm not sure what I can show here without getting slammed by you-know-who, but for the trophy schmoozing with the ladies, we need to interact with everyone in the area. Some of these are actually pretty funny, and most of them just result in Deadpool being rejected.
So, wanna make out?
No way.
Please. Social butterfly.
Turns out, just like the hot fangirl from earlier, this is all in Deadpool's mind, and we are actually being tricked by, honestly, one of the worst enemy types in the game. These guys will die after taking an entire mag to the face, just to come back with a full health bar and shoot you from a distance. It's more of a nuisance than anything, but this was quickly dismissed when I finally got that knock at the door.
Now, I believe, quite possibly, I have a package in the post. Is this the goat? Yes!
With Amazon pulling through, the challenge was more on track than ever, and physically owning Wolverine really did put my mind at ease. Well, as at ease as it could be before this happened.
Holy shit. Oh, PlayStation just froze again? Fuck's sake, man. Like, if it's gonna keep freezing, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this.
Luckily, no trophies had popped before the crash, but the fact my PS3 had crashed once again, not even an hour after the first one, was not a good sign. Still, I was stupid and continued using the exact same PS3 for this platinum run. In the hunt for Rogue, we find ourselves in the sewers. This area is also where we can attempt the trophy Fish Out of Water for avoiding all the sewage along our journey. So I just focused up on avoiding the sewage and eventually reached this chest for a teleporter upgrade.
Oh, that is sick.
With this new upgrade, we can avoid the last of the sewage, and I patiently waited to see if the trophy would pop.
Okay, well, I should have got the trophy there, so I guess it was pointless fucking around trying to get that shit done. Oh, I did it. Oh my god, that was delayed.
After we figure out where Rogue is, we start placing bombs around the area as a great plan to impress her. However, it doesn't take long for Deadpool to get preoccupied with something a little bit more important.
Shh! You're sinister. Maybe if you kill him stealthily, he'll die for reals this time.
Now, there's two trophies we can obtain here. One for taking down all of Sinister's men without being spotted while using every melee weapon, and another one for taking out the man himself.
Gonna need a mop-up over here.
Silent and deadly.
Surprise! Ha! Got the little bitch this time, didn't we?
Okay. No way.
Pose for the camera, Mr. Silly.
Game over.
With Sinister split in two, Deadpool flexes his victory on the viral social media platform Twirt, receiving a lot of attention and on track for a good payday with Twirt Blue, until Cable tells us that this Sinister is in fact just another clone, and all we had done was flexed a big fat L. To save Rogue, we are tasked with defeating this guy called Blockbuster, who is one of the original people that interfered with our contract at the start of the game. I quite like this fight, to be fair, as you're tasked with stunning the boss by a perfect counter, which is something completely different than usual. However, the boss can almost one-shot you anytime you're hit, so you need to make sure you're paying attention at all times. It took me a few tries to figure out the best approach to this one, but I eventually took him down and saved Rogue from the enemies.
Rogue is messed up.
She needs to absorb our healing factor through skin contact.
Hey! Holy shit!
What the hell, bro?
Holy shit! We're in her head now.
This last section with Rogue was also pretty fun, as she has crazy strong weapons that almost made me invincible to the waves of enemies.
Don't worry, Rogue. We'll save you. Mr. Snookums? What are you?
Since Deadpool can pretty much survive anything, we awake in this cave dangling from the ceiling. The dog is nowhere to be seen, so I'm gonna assume it's alive and well. After getting blown up and falling into this minecart, we are introduced to death, literally.
I need you to do something for me.
Just name it, Sugar Skull.
Mr. Sinister is exhuming mutant corpses and harvesting their DNA.
You want me to free their souls, my bony muffin?
Yes.
Since Deadpool can't really experience death, his time with the character Death is always short and sweet. This leads Deadpool to romanticize over the physical interpretation of death and honestly makes for one of the best parts in the game. The only drawback in my opinion is just how long this mission is. There's 3 statues that represent the 3 souls we have to free for Death. Luckily, there's a few trophies to collect along the way, like digging in the crates, which is for finding 11 treasure chests hidden in the darkness of the tombs. Darkness deals damage to our health and kind of reminds me of that one Destiny mission where you need to keep in the light at all times. After surviving the darkness and grabbing all of the chests, the trophy does indeed pop.
Dig in the crates.
Woo! There's a really cool side-scroller section here too, which has us platforming and dealing with a new enemy type before reaching the final boss with that classic Sonic-style boss fight.
That looks like it has a spirit in it.
I've said it a few times already, but this is truly such a unique experience, and I'm starting to think this game was heavily slept on when it came out. After grabbing the first soul, we return to Death to start soul number 2. This is definitely the shortest one of the 3, but it holds what is, in my opinion, one of the best cutscenes in the game.
Oh my god, bro.
There's also a mini boss battle here with a real life contestant winner that was promised to be put in the game. Apparently, he was meant to be a pizza delivery guy, so as you're fighting him, he's just listing out random pizza toppings.
We got salt and snail pizza, we got roadkill on a tire.
After a few fortune tellings, we can free the second soul and return back to Death to start soul number 3, which is easily the most enjoyable one. Pretty much straight away, we can earn the trophy Patience is Not a Virtue for waiting in this line at the carnival.
God, who let one rip?
What the hell? You killed the guy behind.
The smell.
A ticket, my love, ferryman.
Patience is not a virtue.
And then, once inside the carnival, we can play a few mini games, leading to my first high score, which also earned me a lovely trophy.
Okay, please stop moaning in my ear, bro. Fucking hell.
Get nothing.
Deadpool's soul.
Okay. Officially a carny.
It really does feel like High Moon had complete free reign when it came to this game, as the variety of missions is actually insane. One minute you're flying around in a metal shoe, and the next you're getting a high score in the carnival.
Ooh, a tunnel of love. That ride was fun, but I can't help but wonder where all the clones went.
You've done more than you know. Don't speak. Just kiss me.
Now that all 3 souls have been saved, all I had to do was beat the mission with this pirate hat for 2 trophies.
Now we can be together. Forever!
There you go. And then we should get another one as well. There you
Baby,
go. R-rated.
You're the deadest.
You release the spirits for me. Thank you, my darling. Now, you must leave me.
What? No, babe. Was it something I said?
So, after 9 straight hours of gaming, we had finally reached Chapter 7. I had read online that the last 2 chapters have a pretty significant difficulty boost compared to the rest of the game. So, I was anticipating some harder sections than usual, but what I did experience was something completely unfair.
Let's hope it's a comic book death.
Bro, what the absolute fuck?
Can't teleport yet.
Like, I'm getting fucking one tap, bro. Can't go past him. This might actually low-key be the end.
After multiple, and I mean multiple failed attempts at this section, I tried the classic run past all the enemies to reach the next checkpoint kind of trick.
Oh my god, it's safe! Oh my god, it's safe!
And earned a random miscellaneous trophy for collecting all items in this bathroom.
There you go. Spawn more Deadpool Lords.
Straight after this, we destroy a printer for the trophy PC Load Leader.
Dark here.
But unfortunately, not only would the trophy stop here, but so would my progress on the game in general. This section was extremely difficult, and I'm talking up there as borderline impossible. I tried multiple times to no avail, and no matter what weapon I was using, the enemies would just eat all my bullets and then proceed to one-shot me in the face, restarting me back at square one. And that was when I started to realize that there had to have been something I was doing wrong. Surely this level couldn't be that hard, right? Well, no, it wasn't. After watching a guide on this exact level, on this exact difficulty, it was pretty clear to see that the weapons in the guide were dealing significantly larger damage per shot than any of my weapons could achieve. It became pretty clear that I had reached this section extremely underleveled. Now granted, this was completely my fault because a lot of the fight encounters that could be skipped, I would 100% be skipping them to save time on the challenge. But this came at a cost, and now, well, I was stuck. I mean, I couldn't get through this section at all, and I was too far into the challenge to restart the Ultra Violence playthrough in order to get my character to the right level. So I decided to take a quick break to search around online for anything that would help me out. And that was when it hit me. If I could just replay a certain level in the game countless times, surely I could regain all those lost DP points and get back to the stats I was supposed to be at. So I found a good spot and farmed this section over and over again, making sure to level up my weapons to a decent position, but not overkill, because I actually wanted to play the remaining parts of this game the way it was intended. And then I jumped right back in where I left off, and suddenly everything actually made sense. The enemies were still hard, but my weapons were actually dealing damage like the playthroughs on YouTube. And after getting through this first section in a few tries, it looked like the playthrough was back on track. Well, until I reached this section once again and realized that even with the correct stats, death was still possible in a few quick seconds. Okay, I'm still getting fucking dicked, but at least I know my weapons are actually doing something now, so. But I persisted through it all and finally beat this flipping section once and for all to reach this door for an epic slow-mo breach. The trophy I Can Open Doors can be earned here for doing the entire breach in 10 seconds.
Totally breaching this door and killing everyone inside, aren't we?
Yep, time for some shameless cross-promotion. Player, cue that slow.
There we go. I can open doors.
And then, after what felt like hours later, the end of Chapter 7 was in sight.
Launch sequence initiator.
Okay.
Once this baby hits 69.9 miles per hour.
Yes, Jira's Big Adventure.
So there's a handful of trophies to be earned in this final mission, with a few crazy ones like I Am Deadpool, Satiire Wolverine, and It's a Trap. But these hard ones will be left into the cleanup run, as I was more focused on finishing the game than torturing myself even longer than I already had. Let's Go is the first trophy to be earned here, and it's for jumping over all of these platforms without falling off.
There we go, let's go.
And pretty much straight after this, it's a trophy You've Been Coleslaughtered for dying 10 times in a specific section, which is pretty easy when you can just jump off the side of the map.
There you go. You've been coleslaughtered.
After fighting my way through all of the enemies here, you eventually run into the final area of the game, the boss arena. And honestly, what the f is this? I really don't think words can even explain just how absurd this final mission is, but I will try my best to give you the rundown. The fight starts with not one, not two, but 3 of these big guys that are consistently trying to one-shot you from every possible position they can. But after surviving that, you're then tasked with defeating a stupidly large wave of enemies, and I truly do mean stupidly large. This went on for way too long, but eventually you will be greeted with the main bosses from the game all at once. I mean, you can't make this shit up. One-shot death, bro. Dealing with Arclight, Blockbuster, and Vertigo would be the least of my worries though, because after struggling to take them out one by one, this happens.
Oh shit. Is that actually bro? Okay, no mind.
See, if it was only 2 sinister clones, you might be like, yeah, that's not too bad. But these clones kept spawning in, one after another, and it truly felt like it was never going to end. What I did find pretty generous about this final boss fight though, was just how many Deadpool points you get for taking down a sinister clone. Almost 200,000 DP points per elimination is insane, and pretty much guaranteed me 2 trophies. One for upgrading all player upgrades, and another one for upgrading all of my weapons. My strat for this final section of the boss fight was to just train the Sinister clones like a BO2 town survival game. I would rotate around the poles to collect ammo, camp on the stairs to get the height advantage, and then collect the shotgun and pistol ammo before repeating it all again. This strat worked very well, but no matter how many clones I killed, they just kept spawning in. And I mean, it was only a matter of time before the strat I was using would seemingly fall apart. No fucking way. Oh my god. I see that entire fucking thing again. That's actually insane. So I know there was no save point during that entire thing. I just know. So there I was at 3:30 in the morning, stuck on probably the most outrageous boss battle I have ever attempted in my life with what felt like no end in sight. Come on. Oh, that fucking dodge. Yes! Yes! Let's go! Yes!
With no place in this world!
Well, here we are, the moment of truth. Can you believe it? You know, I wasn't sure how you do, but gotta say, you crushed it. Well, we crushed it. We make an amazing team.
Just push your button to execute our super awesome amazing plan.
Oh my god, bro. Oh my fucking god. The PS3 is frozen. Bro, I heard the trophy pop though, which means, well, I'm hoping that means that we got Ultra Violence and Veteran. Did we get the trophies? That's all I care about, to be honest. If we got the 2 trophies, I don't really care that it crashed. Oh, we did it. We did. Yes, fucking go, bro. Ultra Violence and Veteran. I'm really sorry that, like, my PS3 crashed. For Wolverine, I'm going to switch out to my other PS3 and hope for the best. To keep it short and sweet, I won't be going over every single miscellaneous trophy, otherwise we would be here forever. The combat-specific trophies were super fun to attempt, as I could actually play the game for fun instead of worrying about the difficulty at hand. I reached the Fangirl in Genosha using only hammers and the pulse rifle.
Lo behold.
It's got to be it. There we go.
Beat this entire mission without countering any attacks.
Okay. I didn't press circle once. There we go. So you got some free time.
Went back and defeated Arclight without taking any damage from my slam attacks. And honestly, a bunch more combat and non-combat related trophies that were pretty enjoyable and easy to clean up. But before I knew it, I was 5 trophies away from the platinum, and it was time to attempt the challenge levels. This is basically a Spec Ops type situation where waves of enemies will spawn in on random maps from the game. Bronze is of course the easiest, but you need to complete bronze to unlock silver, and then beat silver to unlock gold. The main trophy to attempt here is Gold Rush, for completing 5 gold medals. But because this takes a decent chunk of time to attempt, I also attempted Shields Up at the same time, for completing a gold or silver tier while countering 25 times or more.
There we go, Shields Up. Nice.
Some of these gold challenges were actually kinda hard, but once you find the right cover spots and figure out that the enemies shooting you from afar are usually the main issue, the gold medals can eventually be earned with enough time.
This is so fucking it. Give me that trophy now. Gold Rush. Oh my god, it's just long for no reason. Like, you just finished the game. Why do you want to do more hardcore game?
The last trophy in this game is called Cold Blooded and requires you to complete an entire gold wave of enemies while maintaining a combo the entire time, which sounds pretty hard, but honestly was a piece of cake.
That was a wave. There we go, Cold Blooded. So, last trophy for the platinum is to set the dialogue volume slider to 0. There we go. Only when he starts breathing. Okay, you can sell the game now. Yes! Although I'm keeping the game because it's actually pretty rare, but yeah. 19 hours and 44 minutes it took me, which doesn't give me crazy hopes for doing Wolverine. But I think we can still give it a try anyway. Hope for the best, eh? Alrighty. I'm absolutely flipping knackered. I'm snoozing. As you can see, we're 21 hours into the challenge. I took like an hour off just to fucking stretch my legs, like brush my teeth and all that shit.
It was around 9 AM at this point, and I was truly starting to feel the effects of being awake for 21 hours straight. The only good news currently motivating me through this second platinum was that if the guide times were correct, it would only take between 20 to 25 hours to get this one done, which would just be enough time to earn the platinum before the time runs out. So I started the normal playthrough by falling through the sky and being introduced to the combat in this game, which honestly, I really did enjoy. It's not anywhere close to the Arkham style combat we know and love, but it still has a really unique hack and slash feel that really does flow surprisingly well for a PS3 game. It wasn't long before we stumble across the first of 95 dog tags hidden behind this waterfall on a dead body. The great thing about these dog tags is that they're not tracked at all while being collected, nor are they separated per mission to let you know which ones you might have missed. To add salt in the wound, there's barely any video guides online showcasing these collectibles, so I was left to read a massive text guide throughout this entire playthrough. Ignoring that pretty major issue, the actual game is pretty fun, and roaming around as some badass, fast healing beast really does put you in the shoes of Wolverine. During this first mission, we can earn a few trophies for doing some miscellaneous things, like getting 6 enemies airborne at once.
Oh, that's sick, okay. Aerial Master.
Lunging at 25 enemies.
Lunge. Just literally fucking frozen me, bro.
And just a bit later, eliminating a total of 100 enemies, which eventually leads to the first mini-boss of the game. This enemy type comes up a lot, but it gets reskinned throughout the game, with the primary way to defeat it remaining the same. You can either attack the boss from the ground, or you can dodge his attacks into a lunge to deal significant damage from behind, which is pretty much the main form of attack I use to take these guys down. You don't get a trophy for this though, which kind of surprised me, as for a tutorial style boss, this was not the easiest thing in the world. Moving on, we eventually hijack a fleet of boats, taking them all out with some really fun lunges, before being introduced to Victor Creed, better known as Sabretooth or Wolverine's brother. Before anything too crazy happens, we return to present day where Wolverine is with his girlfriend Kayla. They start talking about how you should all subscribe to the channel before reaching the bar, which lo and behold introduces us to Sabretooth once again. Things go sour pretty fast, and we see Wolverine pull out his bone claws in preparation for a fight. And this unfortunately ends in a big fat L for the man himself.
Logan, be careful!
Caleb, stay back!
While playing this game with no sleep at 10 in the morning, a lot of the stories seem to be really random and unexplained, and to be fair, I still think this is the case. The game does what movie tie-in games do and hopes the audience has watched the film beforehand. Most obviously have, but with this being a last minute idea, I have not. So I will try my best to take you along the story with me with that extra bit of information I didn't have. With the fight coming to an end, we wake up to see Kayla dead, and Wolverine sets out for revenge. This guy appears seemingly out of nowhere, letting us know that if we truly want revenge, we should undergo an experiment that will make us stronger. The experiment being the one that fuses our bones with the indestructible metal known as adamantium.
The operation was a success, but he can't be trusted. We have his DNA for Weapon 11. Terminate him.
Wolverine overhears this conversation and decides enough is enough, and so we start our escape from what is known as Weapon X, taking down a pretty large amount of enemies before earning a trophy for our first encounter. This escape wasn't all that engaging and honestly felt pretty repetitive, all things considered. It was just room after room, enemy after enemy, but I slowly made my way through, being introduced to new enemies like ghosts, and even the reskin of the first boss I was talking about earlier, called the Wendigo. This boss does have a different attack pattern, but it's relatively the same fight, where you lunge onto its back to deal some damage. This does earn a trophy though, which really does make you wonder why they didn't add one for the first boss. It honestly felt like this mission was never going to end, and the tiredness was really starting to kick in now. I was trying my hardest, but no matter what I did, the thought of sleeping peacefully on my bed would always be in the back of my mind. And after 22 really solid hours with minimal breaks, it was really starting to take its toll on me.
Not gonna lie, it's currently 11 AM. I'm fucking knackered. I'm so tired. I've tried drinking a Monster, I've tried having a coffee, I don't want to fucking overdose on caffeine. Obviously I don't want to fail a challenge either, so I go to sleep for 2.5 hours.
Now, to be fair, I wish I could say falling asleep was what I did, but after going outside for some fresh air, I came back in and booted the game up once again, more determined than ever to see this challenge through. While the level was still just as repetitive as before, the puzzles placed throughout really helped keep my 5 remaining brain cells occupied enough to earn the trophy Catch for eliminating an enemy with a reflective projectile. And then it was back to eliminating enemy after enemy after enemy, with seemingly no end in sight. It's honestly like they didn't anticipate a random British YouTuber putting a 48-hour challenge on their game, because it was actually a flipping snooze fest. After 30 minutes had passed, we eventually reached the tunnel standing in the way of our escape. Of course, this final section was filled to the brim with random cars and enemies, but it seemed the game finally realized this was just getting out of hand, and the entire tunnel starts to flood. To avoid being drowned, we can lunge at these enemies driving off without us, earning the trophy Pounce for lunging 100 times. And then, after defying all the warning signs my body was throwing at me to fall asleep, we finally finished the level for another trophy. It was from this point moving forward that my understanding of the story really takes a hit, because the game moves back and forth between present and past. 1 minute we're being flooded in a tunnel, and the next we are back in Africa. Although we aren't in the same place in Africa as we were at with Victor earlier, we are now in a different location with no explanation as to where or why. Again, this goes back to the whole movie tie-in situation, but even reading up about it now on the wiki, I'm still kind of confused as to what's going on. Regardless, time was ticking, so I pressed on, taking down another mini boss before being introduced to the machete master enemy type. These guys are so fucking annoying, and it might be up there as one of the worst enemy types you encounter during your hard playthrough. On normal, these guys aren't as bad, but I'd rather them be removed from the game entirely. Their main ability is to spawn in clones of themselves for you to kill, but as long as the original guy is still alive, they can just keep spawning clones of themselves forever and ever. Moving on from this section, we can defeat yet another one of these bosses before reaching this emitter tower, and I don't even know where to begin with this, as I don't understand what we were doing here in the first place. It blows up, and then we return to present day, making the entire Africa section seem relatively pointless. Present day picks up pretty soon after escaping Weapon X, which at least creates some level of familiarity which was lost with the flashbacks. We are quickly chased by a helicopter that drops a random guy, which surprisingly turns into a Wendigo, showcasing that they have been able to mass produce this enemy type through humans. While kinda cool, it doesn't help the fact that it's just a carbon copy from every single fight before it, and it does get old pretty quick. Between defeating the Wendigo and escaping the Alkali Lake facility, we can earn 2 trophies back to back. One for eliminating 10 enemies with environmental objects, and another one for eliminating a total of 500 enemies.
A day's work as well, nice.
It doesn't take long before we can take down this Wendigo once and for all, leaving us free to reach the end of the level, and there comes a bunch more enemies. It felt like a given at this point that every corner I would turn, a massive group of enemies would spawn in to make each mission just that little bit longer. While making my way through, I earned yet another kill-related trophy for dismembering 100 enemies.
Oh, slaughterhouse.
Skipping ahead here because nothing interesting happened at all, we eventually reached a bridge that should lead us off this facility, but the helicopter from earlier makes a return. It chases us relentlessly underneath the bridge and then destroys the entire bridge behind us. I chucked a few people to their doom here, eventually watching 10 of them fall for the drop dead trophy. As we near the end of this chapter, there's a section where 2 Wendigos spawn in at the same time, and to put it lightly, this was shit. As I've shown already, taking down 1 Wendigo takes a good while. Yes, you can get a few body shots in from the ground, but damage is usually easier from the lunge. However, with 2 Wendigos, neither of these options are really possible at all. Hitting from the ground just results in one of the Wendigos almost one-shotting you, and lunging on the Wendigo's back just allows the other one to hit you off pretty much instantly. I'm ashamed to say that something as simple as defeating 2 of these guys took me almost 10 minutes, and for the trophy Ultimate Wolverine, you need to defeat 4 Wendigos at the same time, which was a whole different battle to deal with at a later date. Just before reaching the final boss of this level, there's a little cave to the side that houses a skeleton and a frosted over sword. This trophy is called WoW, which I'm assuming is a World of Warcraft Easter egg, which is pretty cool.
Is that it? Wow.
Be a waste of a perfectly good bullet.
So this boss fight is against David Nord or Agent Zero, and it's in the same location that we can earn the trophy Ultimate Wolverine for defeating 4 Wendigos at once. Realistically, I was not prepared to take on 4 in a row right now, so I opted for the more peaceful fight, taking out each Wendigo separately and eventually taking out Agent Zero's helicopter for a well-deserved story trophy.
Helicopter ride?
You ever notice good people tend to die around you? Do me a favor. Take a message to your boss.
Oh.
After what I can only assume is sometime in the future, we arrive at Project Wide Awake in search of an individual called John Wraith, as he should be able to lead us to Victor. Wide Awake is a facility creating mutant hunting robots, and while taking down every robot in our path, we can grab the 47th dog tag, which should mark the halfway point in our collectible journey.
Should pop the trophy for getting half of them. If it doesn't, I've missed one, which at this point would fucking ruin everything. So I've ticked everyone off, so I don't think I missed one, but you never know. We'll have to see. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Give me the good news, please. Nice. Woo! That means we're on the right track.
Now, Chapter 3 is an extremely long one. The trophies earned here are kind of the only real things to focus on, otherwise all you will be seeing is this. To start with, I finally eliminated 30 enemies using environmental objects. A bit later into this mission, we come across a movable teleporter, which can be pushed all the way to the right into this little gap, allowing us to teleport into a secret room to find a cake.
Oh my god, it's a cake.
And after a little boss fight, we witness exactly what is happening at the Wide Awake facility, but waste no time finding another secret room to get one of our upgrades to level 3.
Mutant lover. Let's go!
This part's a little confusing because we return back to Africa yet again to blow up another tower. We do get our first quick kill here because I didn't even realize these were possible until this point. After blowing up the second tower, we return back to Wide Awake and eventually find John Wraith, who seems pretty interested in Victor's whereabouts and decides to help us out. Before anything too crazy happens though, we run into this insane boss battle between little old me and a fucking giant. This sentinel might look decently strong, but there's a few weak points on his feet, and spamming attacks while being picked up eventually damages his hands. All in all, the sentinel went down without too much trouble, and we enter this really cool second phase as we're skydiving towards it while avoiding all the debris in the process.
Oh my god. Fallen Sentinel. Fuck nah.
Wraith lets us know that someone called Fred Dukes might hold valuable info on Victor's location, and so we head to a random supermarket to see him scanning all the food on the shelf. I feel like the movie has to explain the situation a bit better because from my point of view, 1 minute we're fighting a literal giant, and then the next minute we're in a random supermarket riding this guy into shelves. The only thing that did make sense from all of this was that lovely trophy pop for taking him down.
Nice. Put up your Dukes.
So, Bob, tell me. What's this island?
It's where Stryker takes mutants after Victor's caught them. It's like a supermax prison for the most powerful mutants. Rumor is Stryker does experiments on them there. I heard he was taking their powers, but I heard a prisoner named Remy LeBeau escaped. Guards called him Gambit because he kept taking their money in poker. Now he's doing the same to tourists in New Orleans. But he's not gonna tell you a thing.
After reaching the casino in New Orleans, we run into Gambit, but instantly things go sour as he assumes we are working for Stryker and not against him. This unfolds into countless mini boss fights throughout this section of the game, and to be honest, this was the worst section of the game for me. Gambit's whole fight style is counterattacks, meaning the only way to actually deal any damage is to counter one of his fast attacks and then get a few hits in. Being 30 hours into this challenge and probably 3 monsters in at this point, I was struggling hard to stay awake, so having a boss only beatable by your reaction time was not the best experience in the world. Because of this, it probably doesn't surprise you that the untouchable trophy was earned here for countering 25 times. To give this chapter some credit though, the environment is really unique and a great switch up from what has pretty much been an Africa robot game for the past 2 hours. As you climb the casino tower, you eventually reach the top that's open and overlooking the surrounding area. Unfortunately, this is ruined a bit by the crazy number of enemies placed in this section, but I found that you can just run past a decent chunk of them, eventually reaching Gambit for the final time.
Won't give up yet, huh, mon frere? I'm just getting started.
It's during this that I unlocked the final lunch trophy, as that's all you really do during this fight. I wouldn't class this boss fight as hard, but I do think it's a tiny learning curve to get those counter times down correctly. I also do really like how interactive the environment is with this one. Gambit will periodically destroy a letter on the sign as you decrease his health, leading to less platforms to stand on, but also taking the fight down underneath the letters, which makes for a more unique fight than usual.
Go back, little bro. 52 pickup.
You're no good to me dead. I need info on the island.
Why?
Because I'm looking to find Creed and Stryker and end them. I got an edge.
Good. It's a long trip to the island.
With Gambit offering to take us to the island, we get a quick trophy in Africa for eliminating 50 enemies in Rage mode. We also get a trophy for completing this final Africa flashback, which I guess might have been worth my time if these flashback missions weren't so boring.
Oh, the village.
Regardless, back in present day and in the final section of the game lies the final dog tag of the playthrough. This was honestly make or break for me in this moment because I had no clue whether all the dog tags had been collected properly, and I was way too tired to comb through the entire game again, trying to find the one I had missed.
Give me the trophy, please. I beg. I beg. Yes! Yes! I spent all day doing that. You know, the last 10 hours of my flipping life has been spent just collecting collectibles. Crazy, crazy stuff. But we made him.
Even though I struggled to follow along with the entire story, this ending was actually really good and has convinced me that I need to watch the film sometime in the future. Remember Wolverine's girlfriend from the start of the game that died? Well, she didn't die. She was just working with Stryker to try and get our mutation for Weapon 11, otherwise known as Deadpool. Now, granted, Stryker had Kayla's sister kidnapped, so she kind of had no choice. But Wolverine has heard enough and decides the only way he can move forward is to have his memory wiped. Just before the process begins, Victor takes Kayla hostage, forcing Wolverine to jump out of the chair as we enter the last fight with Victor, ending in one big L for him and another W for Wolverine.
No, Logan, you're not an animal, and I didn't trick you into loving me. Even when I wasn't near you, you loved me.
You're alive because of her.
With Kayla back and Victor put in his place, everything seems to be over and we can go back home. Oh wait, yeah, never mind.
Wait, is that you?
Oh, it's Deadpool. It's a crossover game.
This final fight with Deadpool is very counter-orientated. It's basically just counter, spam square, avoid until we are teleported to the final area on top of this power plant, which is such a cool final area for a boss fight. The fight itself is actually pretty hard, and I won't lie, even on normal difficulty, this still took me a few attempts to get right. The first phase is exactly the same as the mini fight beforehand, countering and sometimes avoiding this laser attack he does every so often. But the second phase just takes everything to the next level. Deadpool can remove the platforms underneath you, which seems to be kind of temperamental, as I had multiple times where the game just wouldn't warn me he was about to attack, and then I would just fall to my death. Each death in the second phase meant replaying the entire first phase again, so it was a constant cycle of spending 5 minutes or so beating phase 1 to die to something random like a laser beam in phase 2. Eventually though, Deadpool did indeed meet his demise.
This is it. I saw it, I saw it.
Yes!
That's actually normal as well, that's not even a hard difficulty, man.
Now, I honestly thought this game would end happily, but Stryker comes back determined to make Wolverine lose his memory and shoots him point blank in the head. He shoots Kayla too, but before he can do anything crazy, she makes him turn around and walk until his feet start bleeding. She then walks into the water, presumably drowning herself, but apparently this doesn't happen in the movie, so I guess they altered the ending a bit for the game. Regardless, Wolverine wakes up without any memories at all and walks off peacefully into the sunset, not realizing he had just let his girlfriend drown in the lake. With the first playthrough complete, it was looking pretty promising that we would plat this game in under 48 hours, so I got to work. All of these trophies are miscellaneous and need to be obtained before going into the hard playthrough because none of the stats carry over, which I find pretty crazy. Now, to save some time on an already lengthy video, I'm not going to show every single miscellaneous trophy since 90% of them are just random kill trophies. But 2 trophies in particular took up pretty much all of my time. That being Samurai for raising all combat reflexes to master level and Fully Loaded for maxing out all player upgrades. See, the miscellaneous kills were pretty simple. Things like killing 3 enemies in a row, eliminating 200 enemies in Feral Sense, You know, pretty simple stuff. But reaching master level in every single combat reflex is seriously the most insane task to ask for when you don't even keep your save file after it's all said and done. To put it into perspective, each combat reflex starts at 1 and maxes out at 3. Each one relates to a single enemy type, so to increase the level, you need to eliminate a certain amount of enemies from that specific group. There's usually a level in the game that's good enough for each enemy type, but that didn't stop the grind from taking its sweet time. While slowly progressing through this trophy, I managed to eliminate a total of 2,000 enemies. To give a sense of the time spent on this trophy, my earliest recording of me starting this grind was around 36 hours and 40 minutes in, and by the time I'd repeated every single level I needed to over and over again, we were 40 hours and 30 minutes into the run. Almost 4 solid hours of grinding constant enemies and restarts just to get my stats to max, all for it to mean absolutely nothing when restarting the hard playthrough later on.
Give me the trophy, please. Dookie fucking trophy.
With probably the longest trophy of the entire game secured, all I had to do was reach level 39. And I say all I had to do because this shit took me another 2 whole hours of grinding. While doing this trophy though, I lit 20 enemies on fire, eliminated 200 enemies using my claw spin, and finally, 2 hours after earning Samurai, I could finally purchase the last upgrade and be done with this absurdly long and pointless cleanup grind.
Yes! Okay, so now that we are fully leveled up, it's time to spend our flipping skill point, finally. There we go. The most tedious crap of this game is done. There is no other trophies left other than beat the game again on hard. So almost 9 hours after beating the game for the first time, I was finally ready to head into the hard playthrough to earn the final trophy for the platinum. Or at least I thought I was. You see, 42 real hours awake with no sleep had taken a toll on me that I had personally never experienced in my life. The 48-hour challenge on paper seemed easy and something I could bash out no questions asked. But upon starting my hard playthrough, my brain completely switched off, and I was actually dreaming while I was awake. This is apparently known as microsleeps, and it's your body's way of forcing you to sleep because you're basically refusing to do so. You can see here that I just completely switched off, moving around like I was an NPC inside of the game because my body actually shut down for around 30 seconds. I was also suffering with something known as blurred vision, which was making it pretty hard to actually pay attention when I was awake because I could hardly even see what I was doing. Pretty much, I was cooked, and it was only a matter of time before there really wasn't another outcome other than the one you're probably expecting. I can't, I'm trying so hard to focus up, and I think I'm still on the first level. I can't remember, man. All of a sudden I've just been hit with like a wave of just, I guess, drowsiness. I mean, granted, I fucking stayed awake for 43 hours, but I can't concentrate. And there was one point when I was going through the tutorial bit just now where I dreamed, but I was awake. I saw the game, but it was not the game. It was like I was in a bank heist or something. I don't even know, bro. But what I'm trying to say is I'm cooked. I'm actually done. Okay, I've tried playing a bit more. I think this is the second mission, so I didn't get very far. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep, to be honest. Yeah, this is as far as I'm going, I think.
So after 44 hours and in my opinion, a really solid attempt at this challenge, I admitted defeat and was in and out of sleep for around 2 whole days. The challenge affected me a lot more than I expected, and realistically, I probably should have given this entire challenge a miss since it's not a good idea to stay up that long to begin with. Of course, it wouldn't be fair to leave you guys without a lovely platinum pop, so I did come back a few days later and get this done. Hard difficulty is a pretty big step up from normal, but it really only came in the form of making your attacks weak and their attacks stronger. While your attacks deal a slither of health, you can easily just get one shot by a boss and restart from the beginning. However, it wasn't until reaching Deadpool once again that the difficulty would go from mildly hard to fucking impossible. Your attacks do absolutely nothing, and the button mash counter is so extreme that every single counter resulted in me spamming my controller like I was about to die in real life. Not to mention that in the second phase, the laser beam is practically a one-shot kill, and if you're not full health at the time of the hit, you're dead. So yeah, it was clear pretty much instantly that I was not making it through this final boss fight without lobbing my console out of the window. I looked on multiple forums online and eventually found a method that stun locks Deadpool even on the hardest difficulty. By holding triangle, you can bring him up in the air and hit him 8 times before letting him drop to the ground and going again.
Yes! Bah! Get fucked, bro. Okay, walking death. Platinum trophy! Platinum trophy! Let's go!
Although I gave it my all, I did fail the challenge, so I will be giving away the value of these games over on my Discord. The link is in the description, and the giveaway will end a week after this video is posted, so be quick. Thank you all for watching, I really do appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!